Okay. Shalom Aleichem, um, Parshas Korach, Tafshin Pei Daled. We've got and this is a huge parsha. If you look in the midrashim on this parsha, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. There's so much on this parsha. It's amazing. Why? Well, it's really giving over the foundations of what machlokes is. It's really explaining to us what is machlokes and what is a bal machlokes, even more important, because machlokes is really not the issue is not machlokes. The issue is a bal machlokes, a person who makes machlokes. So we've said this many times, but this is an important yesod to Chazal. So we've got the inyan of the tzaddik and the rasha, which is the relationship to klal and prat. We're going to be talking a lot about klal and prat. Yeah, everyone knows what klal and prat means. You know klal and prat. So klal means the general principle. Oh, we've got all the little cats in the car, all the kittens. So we've got klal is the general principle, and prat means the detail. So the klal encompasses all of the pratim. Okay, so that's klal and prat. So by the rasha, the Haggadah tells us, Yotzes atzmo min klal. He takes himself out of the klal. So what's the eitzah that the Haggadah gives us? The Haggadah says, "V'af'ata hakesh shinav," break his teeth, blunt his teeth. Yeah, because the blunting of the teeth. See, these are called the incisors. Yeah, your front teeth are called incisors, and they cut the food. The back teeth are called the molars. They grind the food. Yeah. So the advice to the rasha who's taken himself out of the klal, which means he's looking at the world as a world of fragmentation, fragmentation. Yeah. The advice to him is blunt his teeth, go back to trying to get a big picture, because the rasha takes himself out of the klal. The tzaddik is part of the klal. He's a team player. The rasha is a lone wolf. He feels that he's alone by himself in the world. Yeah. The tzaddik is the man who can play with he's part of the team. He's part of the big picture. Okay. So the advice to the rasha, or the advice to the father talking to the rasha, is blunt his teeth to get him back to the klal, grind up reality, and take it as a like mashed potato, not like pieces of meat. Take it as one big whole. Yeah, take it down to its what would you say? Down to its foundational. Like when you grind something down, you take it down to its essential. Like you bring it back to a oneness. You understand? Like everything that's ground down is a oneness. Yitzi, you're not hearing this?
Yeah, I mean, it feels a little bit of a stretch. You say he took himself out of the klal, and therefore we grind it up to go back in the klal.
No. He took himself out of the klal. Yeah, that's the definition of the rasha, meaning that he sees himself as something different, something separate from the klal, which really means that this is, I suppose, the jump. It's not really a jump, but that means he's actually looking at the world through eyes of fragmentation. He doesn't see himself as part of the big picture. He sees everything as an everything as an antagonistic entity. There's lots of different things going on. The tzaddik is connected to the big picture. The rasha is connected to the individual pratim, and they don't feel connected. It's all fragmented. His world is fragmented. And as a result of that, he takes himself, or not as a result, or it's all bound up together. He's out of the klal. So the advice is blunt his teeth, metaphorically meaning instead of cutting your food into pieces, grind it down into a oneness. You get it? Experience the oneness. Stop being so fragmented and get back to oneness. What do we say to the tzaddik? So we're all tzaddikim. What's the ikka moment of oneness in the life of the Jew, in the day of the Jew? Ikka moment of oneness. Kriya Shema. Kriya Shema is that ikka moment of oneness. And what does the Torah say there? It says, V'shinantam levanecha, dibarat bam v'shinantam levanecha. What does Rashi say? Rashi says, V'shinantam, loshen chidudhu, make it sharp. So mechudadim beficha, they should be sharp in your mouth. Yeah, she'im shalcha adam davar loy said sarich legamgem boy el amaloy miyad. They should be sharp in your mouth. If someone asks you a question, you should be able to answer quickly. It's the exact opposite thing. Once the person is connected to the klal, now the advice is cut reality into teeny weeny little bits. Get as granular as you can. If you're connected to the klal, now get involved in the pratim. But if your whole world is just kulu pratim, get back to the klal. Yeah. So that's a klali principle. That klali principle. That's a principle. Okay, that we need to be connected to the details. Yiddishkeit is kulu details. Yeah, open up a Shulchan Aruch, open up a Rambam, and you'll realize that it's kulu details. Yeah, but you have to be absolutely and utterly bound up in the klal before you can touch the details. That's why we said before that the Rishayim and Malay mitzvahs karimon. Yeah, I know there's the Pashup Pshat is that's a good thing, and that's great, and we never, don't take it out of the Pashup Pshat. But also the Inyan is, by the Russia, all the mitzvahs are individual 613 things he has to deal with. 613, things I have to deal with. Whereas by the Russia, Tzadik be'emunaso yichya, it's just one mitzvah. It's called Emunas Hashem, Tzadik be'emunaso yichya. Habakkuk stood the whole thing on one. Okay, so now the klal has to come before the prat. That's the klal. Okay, what happens when you've got a guy who's a Baal Gaiva? Yeah, he's a Russia, meaning he sees the world. His whole inner world is fragmented. Everything is fragmented, but he's mamash very, very clever. He's a big chochem. And he sees the big picture. Yeah, we're talking about an exceptional kind of person here. We're not talking about a guy who just sees all the details. We're talking about a guy who is fragmented internally. That's the definition of Rashi's Yotis, that's one in the klal. He's fragmented internally, but he's a pikeach. He's a pikuach. So he's a pikeach, which means he sees the big picture. But he's not connected to the big picture. What does he want to do then? You know what he wants to do? He wants to own the big picture. He wants to conquer the klal. This is where we get into Korach. Korach, the pasuk says, Rashi says, the pasuk says, Rav lechem. Yeah, Rashi says, Davar gado amati lechem. Yeah, the loy tipshim hayu. They weren't tipshim. And then Weizvi says, the koyrach shepikeach haya. Koyrach was a pikeach. He was an ilui. He was a tremendous genius. Yeah, he was very clear on the big picture, but internally he was fragmented. So he wanted to own the big picture. That's what happens when somebody is that's the klal the sitra achra. He sees the klal. The myopic Russia doesn't see the klal, he doesn't see it all come together. But the Baal Gaiva, the Pikeach Baal Gaiva, he's all fragmented, but he sees the klal, and therefore he wants the klal. He wants to have the klal. Okay, so now this is a very important idea. Is we've got the difference between seeing and hearing. Which one would you think? Seeing and hearing, which one goes with prat, which one goes with klal?
I think seeing goes with klal and hearing goes with prat.
Yes. Okay. Now, seeing and hearing is a big sugya, a really big sugya, I'll be pneumius, and we could talk about it for a long time. Which one's better? Which one's higher?
Hearing.
Which one's higher?
I mean, higher what? Physically on your base or like
Yeah.
spiritually?
Which one's the higher one? It would be represented physically, yeah.
Oh, physically, what's higher? They're even. Oh, I like this. Depends which way you're looking.
Exactly. It depends if you put your head up or you put your head down. Yeah. I'll be the Seder of Kabbalah from the Arizal that it began from the ears. The eyes were later on. But we could there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to hearing, and there's pros and cons to seeing. Okay. The pro of seeing is klal. Seeing, you see everything in one shot. You get the big picture. What do they say? A picture tells 1,000 words, yeah? So you see it, you get it, yeah? But what's the downside of seeing? This is Modik. It's kulu chitzoni. You can look at somebody forever and never know who they are. Hear them speak for a minute or two and you get a good idea of who this person is. So seeing, you get the big picture, but it's always chitzoni. It's always chitzoni. Now hearing's the prat. Hearing's all about pratim. It's all about little pieces. You have to put it all together. A piece of music only exists in time. It's made of lots of fragments of music, lots of notes, and over time it comes together. Same with hearing someone speak. But hearing is pnimi. What's the raya, by the way, and the body that seeing is chitzoni and hearing is pnimi? The raya is your eyes and your ears. You know that no one's ever seen an ear except for, like, surgeons. This thing here, you can't see it because of what's going on here. These aren't, that's really funny. These aren't your ears. Yeah, exactly. These aren't your ears. Your ears are inside. These are like, I forgot what they're called, but they're not your ears. Your ears are organs inside. Your eyes are the only organ visible to the outside world. They're chitzoni. It's amazing. They're completely revealed. Your eyes are completely revealed. So the eyes are chitzoni and your ears are pnimi. And that's the inyan of hearing and seeing. That although seeing, you get the big picture. Oh, fine. And seeing is the big picture, but it's only chitzoni. Hearing is the details, but it's pnimi. Okay, so now let's start putting together. There's another question I wanted to ask. I didn't ask this question. A couple of questions, a lot of questions. What's korach got to do with ice? Kerach is the same word. Korach and kerach is the same word. Also, karachat, abal karachat, bald. That's another word for Korach. Yeah, that he was bald. I don't know if he was actually bald himself, but the word Korach and Bal Korachat is also the same word. So what's the kesher there? Okay, and now there's another lovely question from Avois. Yeah, we say Kol Machloikas Shem Shemaim Sofis Kayim. If there's a Machloikas L'Shem Shemaim, it's gonna endure. V'she'en L'Shem Shemaim ein Sofis Kayim. Eizin Machloikas L'Shem Shemaim. What's an example of a Machloikas that's L'Shem Shemaim? Zon Machloikas Hillel B'Shamai. Fine. V'she'en L'Shem Shemaim, a Machloikas that isn't L'Shem Shemaim. Who's that? Zoi Machloikas Korach V'Kol Adasoi. What's the inconsistency there in the Mishnah? Oh, Shem Aleichem. What's the inconsistency in the Mishnah? A machloikas l'shem shemaim is Hillel and Shammai. A machloikas she'ein l'shem shemaim is Korach v'Kol Adasoi. Shouldn't it say Moshe and Korach, or Korach and Moshe? Why is it Korach and Kol Adasoi? The machloikas wasn't between Korach and his Ada, it was between Korach and Moshe. Completely inconsistent. Okay, so we'll answer that at the end, Mizrach Hashem. Okay.
Is that a Gemara that you quoted? Who said those lines?
It's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, the 5th Perek of Pirkei Avos. Mishnah Yud Zayin. So just to read through some of these psukim, because it's moiridic to see how this plays out. Oh, Shalom Chaim. It's moiridic to see how this plays out. Nice to see you. That we've got a pasuk. I'm going to just go through a few psukim and we'll try and tie it together. Okay. V'yikach koyach ben Yitzhar ben Kahas ben Levi v'dasan v'im v'chule v'chule. Yeah, v'yikach. So Rashi says v'yikach koach lokach es atzmoi letzad echad liyois nechlak mitoicha Eidah. He took himself out of the Eidah. That's the definition of Rasha. And remember, see in the Tanya it says that it calls the 10 koichas of the nefesh when it's talking about the nefesh of the keys, it calls them the 10 koichas or the 10 bechinas. When it talks about the koichas and nefesh, the 10 powers of the animal soul, it calls them the esa kisim savusa, the 10 crowns of impurity. Why? See, the concept of a crown is that it's a malchus. It's only in this generation the concept of malchus is working together, like under the UN or whatever. The concept of a malchus is it's its own state and it's basically negate everyone else unless it's like some kind of parasitic like thing. But a malchus exists by itself. So the inner workings of the nefesh of Bahamis are fragmented. The inner workings of the nefesh of Lakis are interdependent and completely unified, as they work in a completely unified way. By the animal soul, the human soul, the Klippa, the soul of Klippa, it's not like that. It's completely fragmented. Every piece is to itself. That's how it works in the world of unholiness. So we've always learned that holiness, that Kedusha is a good translation of Kedusha is transparent. Yeah? Another good translation of Kedusha is unified, or at least availability to unity. Definition of Klippa is disunity, the inability to unify, to merge with each other. Why? Because Kol Zman, you've got your own agenda. The only way you can merge with another is if he's going to help your agenda. So it's not a real merging, it's really a swallowing. That's what a Klippadika unity is. A Klippadika unity is a swallowing, not an actual merging. The only way two can merge is when their agendas, they don't have agendas, and they're merging to a higher agenda, meaning the agenda of the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's a true merging. That's the definition of Kedusha, another definition of Kedusha, and they're really the same, because transparent means that you have no agenda. So that means that you can unify with something else, someone else. Okay? So Korach took himself out. And it says like this, V'yikumu lifnei Moshe, he stood up upright. Why? What happens when you stand upright? Is your eyes go above. So he could see the whole picture, but he was fragmented internally. So what did he do? What did he want? He wanted to own the whole picture. A tzaddik is part of the picture. He doesn't care if he's washing the dishes or sitting in the office with the CEO. It's not the loch patloi. He's completely connected to the big picture. But Korach was individually separated, but he was clever. He was super clever. So he saw the big picture. So he wanted the big picture. He wanted to own the big picture. That's what he wanted. That was his whole thing. So he was fragmented, but he had a handicap in that he was so clever that he could see the whole big picture, and therefore he needed the whole big picture. And that's why they were called, all the people with him were called Anshe Shem. See, we're living under the advice of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov. Not the Anshe Shem. What's the difference in a Baal Shem and the Anshe Shem? A master of the name and the man of the name. Listen to how amazing that is. It's the exact opposite. The master of the name means you've mastered your name. You're on top of your fragmentation, your individuality. You've risen above that. You're individual, but you realize and you embrace your individuality and you embrace your unique koiches, but you are absolutely connected to the big picture. That's called a Baal Shem, the Baal Shem Tov. He was the master of the name. The Anshe Shem means the men of name, means they were subordinate to their name. They were the men of their name, not the masters of their name, but they were the men of their name. So they were subordinate to their name. So they were caught up in the period. And so what was the tikkun, so to speak? The tikkun was I'm going to kill them karaga in one moment. What's the Indian of killing them in one moment? That's a tikkun of Re'iyah, of the klal. See, by the Chet Meraglim, they died over 40 years. Behemshech Hazman, it took a lot of time to fix. I'm not going to get into that whole thing there. But this was a pagam in Re'iyah. He saw the big picture, but he was internally fragmented. So instead of wanting to merge with the big picture, he wanted to own the big picture. So you're going to die b'bas achas, karega, like that. It says it a few times in the parsha. You with me? So then it says like this, Rav Lechem. So the next pasuk, without going into the pasuk, it says, Dava Godol nataltem that you took it upon yourselves to be choylek on a Kodesh Baruch Hu. He wasn't choylek on a Kodesh Baruch Hu. He was choylek on Moshe. Why was he choylek on a Kodesh Baruch Hu? Now this is a beautiful. I want to just bring one moment. We'll leave a couple of things out. Oh, well, where's that 1 minute I printed? Oh, there it is. So there's a couple of Tehillim that I wanted to read to you. You can look at them. One is Kapitel Ayin, and one is Kapitel Mem. Okay, Mem is a long one, but it's from line 14 to 18. And it's very interesting, these two Kapitel Tehillim, because they actually are like there's a cut and paste in them, a real cut and paste. It's really interesting. So the cut and paste, basically in Ayin, it says Yevoishu v'yachpru mevakshe nafshi. They should be embarrassed and like another kind of embarrassment. The ones mevakshe nafshi, who are searching for my soul, meaning they're trying to destroy me. And then in Mem, it says, Yevoishu v'yachpru yachad mevakshe nafshi. Adds in the word yachad. But they should be embarrassed and what's the word? Embarrassed, disgraced. That's not the word. I can't think of the word. Anyway, they should have bad stuff. Mevakshe nafshi, the ones who are searching to destroy me. But then it says, and these are mamash the same words in both Tehillim. It says, and then he goes to the thing, and then he goes, V'yasisu v'yismachu b'cha kol mevakshecha. They should be happy and joyous in you, all the ones who search after you. And again, in the other kapitel, it says, V'yasisu v'yismachu b'cha kol mevakshecha. The ones who search after you. It's the same thing. They're so inconsistent. It should say the ones who try that they should be embarrassed. The ones who are trying to destroy me should be embarrassed and shamed. That was the word, shamed. And the ones who search for you should be mamash. The ones who are trying to destroy me should be embarrassed and shamed. And then it should say the ones who love me should be joyous and whatever. He says, no, the ones who search for you should be joyous and happy. It's not in the right, it's not shaver. What's the point? Is because a person who is fragmented internally, it will manifest as a hisnagdus against other people, but really it's a hisnagdus against Rabbeinu Shalom. It's a hisnagdus against the klal. There's two options. You've got a stupid Russia and a clever Russia. The stupid Russia, he sees the whole world fragmented. Yeah, so he's against Hashem. The clever Russia, he sees the klal, but he wants to own it. So again, he's against Hashem. So David says the ones who are trying to destroy me, they should be shamed. And the ones who are searching for you, they should be happy. Because it's the same thing. The opposite of shame, the opposite of trying to destroy me is searching for Hashem, not trying to give me, not trying to love me. You've got two options. You've got the person who's fragmented and broken up, and then you've got the person who's chasing for the yichud of the Boy Shalom. And now we can answer up our first question. There's a lot of other things we could say, but I'm not going to get into it for another time. But we can answer up the first question now. What does it mean? Well, let's answer up the ice and the bald thing. Yeah, what's the connection between ice and kerach and koirach? Ice is a phenomenon, not a phenomena. It's a phenomena. It's exceptional. Water is the only liquid that freezes from the top, from the external part. That's why we still have oceans. Because if water froze from the bottom, the oceans would become completely frozen over and life would cease to exist. So that's Kerach. Kerach is a Chetzoni. That's who Korach was, Chetzoni. Bald is a Chetzonius thing as well. I mean, we could get that could go very deep, but we'll leave it at that. It's an external thing as well. Okay. And now, how do we answer up the last question? Do you remember the question we asked about the Mishnah? So this is very beautiful. Kol machlokas hi l'shem shemayim sofer iskayim. V'she'ein l'shem shemayim ein sofer iskayim. It's not going to exist. Yeah. Ezi machlokas hi shem shemayim. What's the machlokas that shem shemayim? Yeah. So machlokas hilo v'shamai. The machlokas in Hillel and Shammai. V'she'en l'shem shemayim. What was the machlokas that was ein shem shemayim? Zoi machlokas Korach v'kol adasoi. Why not Korach and Moshe? Because Korach was choylek bichlal. It was just who he was. So he was obviously choylek on all of his chevra as well, and they were choylek on each other as well. A Baal machlokas isn't choylek on a person. He's choylek bichlal. He's choylek in himself, which means it wasn't against Moshe, it was against everything. So his machlokas, how do you prove that? That he was choylek with all of his chevra. They were all screaming and shouting back at each other the whole time. They were all choylek at each other. Because machlokas is a din on the inner dimension of the person. It's a fragmentation. It's an inner fragmentation. And then if a person is a pikuach, he's a clever guy, then he'll see the klal and he'll want to own it. And that was the difference between Korach and the other Rishayim, is that the other Rishayim didn't see the big klal so much. So they were fragmented in their own little way. But he could see the big klal, and because of that, he actually wanted to take possession of it. So in conclusion, we'll just say that we are charged with getting connected deeply to the klal. And once you're completely, absolutely dedicated to the klal, then you can get involved in the prat. And I'll just finish by quoting the one Paul very quickly, 1 minute. The very first words of the Ramchal, of the Metzias Yesharim. Yesod HaChasidus. There you go. Yesod HaChasidus. V'shoresh ha'avodah ha'tamimahu. Listen to these words. Sheyisbara v'yisames etzel ha'adam, that the man should clarify v'yisames, make true, mean become one with it, mamash, ha'adam machoy vasay ba'olamoy, his choiv in the world. That means get thoroughly connected to the klal, meaning misames means get become one with it, mamash, Miss Ames, become mamash one with it. And now, once we've become one with the klal, now everything is about the prat. And now this is the final point, the most important point, is the job of the Jew is to show the klal in the prat. That's what our job is, to cut every single piece of reality from the minute we wake up to the second we go to sleep. Every single moment of our day is involved in showing the klal, the Rabbeinu Shalom, in the prat, in this world. Every time we're Mekayim a mitzvah, every time we Mekayim a halacha, every time we're Mekayim a minhag, every word of Torah we learn, every davar shebekadusha that we do, what we're doing is we are revealing the klal, the Rabbeinu Shalom, in the prat. And that's called the Der B'Tachtonim, that's called the Yichud of Kudsha Baruch Shchinte, that's called B'Yomahu Yeh Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. B'ezrat Hashem. Shbi Zoicha. Chazak v'yamatz. Everyone have a good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
John, sorry, do you have 1 minute or are you running?
Yeah, I have a minute, 1 minute. Let me